the importance of family. You know, in life you have a lot of different relationships, but I really wanted to talk about family specifically because these are the group of people that, you know, you have in your life forever. Their care and their support, it's all supposed to be unconditional. And you know, a lot of people say like blood is thicker than water, but I like the phrase, it's a bit more extended. Blood is thicker than water, but mud is thicker than blood. Pretty much meaning that, you know, your family, whoever you define as your family, doesn't have to be blood related. That whoever, you know, if you grow up with a friend and lifelong friend, you can consider them family. But no matter who you choose to define as your family, they should always be people you can count on. You should never really have to be concerned with losing them from your life. You know, you may have ups and downs here and there, you're gonna have arguments here and there, that's just a natural thing that happens. But no matter what, when push comes to shove, they should always be people you can go to and they'll have your back, and vice versa, you'll have their back. And so I guess I just really want you to work to make sure you actively have a good relationship with each of your family members. You know, even if there's a little bit of tension, it can always be resolved. You know, you guys are never going to stop being related. You know, your brother will always be your brother. You know, your aunt will always be your aunt. Your dad will always be your dad, etc., etc., etc. The point is that there's so much time that you guys can spend together that there's not really an issue big enough to really permanently damage your relationship. And so I personally want to just talk about my relationship with my dad because I'm super close with him. I just always have been. And then there was this little stretch kind of when I was 15, 16 years old. I guess you could call it teenage angst. But that was probably when we were the most distant. Our relationship was kind of at its worst. And also at this time, I was dating this girl. And unfortunately, we broke up, whatever. And for me, this was just my first really, really bad breakup. It was something, it was like, you know, the stereotypical first heartbreak. And so I was super committed to this person, and I really thought we were going to be together for a while, and it didn't work out. But through this experience, you know, my dad was there right next to me the whole time, supporting me. And I realized I was so invested in this other person that I'd sort of kind of not really acknowledged that my dad was there with me this whole time. And then suddenly this person was gone. I'm like, who do I have? Right there is my dad, you know? And so that all happened a little over 3 years ago. And since that experience, my dad and I have never been closer. And it's not that he hasn't been there for me prior to that experience. It's that I was pretty much just so focused elsewhere that I didn't realize how amazing of a person that I had right next to me that whole time. And so that relationship is more of a sort of a realization on my part. But I also want to talk about my relationship with my brother because, you know, especially I would say in the last year, my brother and I have gotten super close. And I think a big part of this is because I started preparing to leave for college. We kind of realized like, hey, we're not going to be seeing each other every single day like we have been for the last, you know, decade plus, you know, 15 years, whatever. My relationship with my brother, you know, especially when I was around 13, 14, 15, it was a little weird because I always felt like there's like a 3-year difference. And I always felt like I was just too old. There was too big of an age difference for us to really have anything in common. And I feel like as I was leaving for college, both of us realized that, like, we're not going to see each other anymore. And so him and I started hanging out more, doing more things. And it kind of just evolved. And now him and I are just, like, I would say he's my best friend right now. You know, he's somebody that I'm always doing stuff with. I was just playing Fortnite with him, like, 15 minutes ago. We just saw the Superman movie, and we're going to go watch the Fantastic Four movie. And so this was a relationship that I just kind of realized, like, it kind of matured into, I guess you could say. And so there isn't really a specific meaning for this video, except that I just want you to make an active effort. If there's a family member that you felt a little distant from, just take that initiative to go reach out to them, do something with them. You know, these are the people that are going to be there for, you know, hopefully ever, you know. And obviously, like I said before, you know, these don't have to be your blood members. You know, there are multiple ways to determine who your family is. You know, for example, I have a friend that I've had since, like 13 years. I would consider him family, you know. But whoever you choose to be your family, you should hold, those are the people that you should hold closest to your heart. You should value them the most. You know, these are the people that are going to get you through those tough times. So there's not really much else for me to say except that I really want you to just value these people super closely. That wraps it up for this video. Thank you. Stay positive and stay safe.